Hey everyone. So today is my last day in Ecuador. Been here for like a month, 31, 32 days now. And so I get to go home tomorrow, and I'm really excited about going home, but I'm also feeling a little bit sad to leave Ecuador. I've grown to really love it and be comfortable here and know how to navigate. And it's been about 11 days since I left the after program part of the retreat, the medicine retreat. So it's been like 11 days since my last ceremony, and I had a lot of time to integrate, and I had a lot of adventures since then. It was kind of nice to relax and just do some fun things. I stayed in Macas for a couple days. That's where I ended up. And I took a day trip to Sucua and back to Macas, and then I decided to go to Baños and did some hiking and horseback riding in hot springs in Baños. And then, so 2 days in Baños, and then I went to, I bused to Chowchilon, which is part of the Quilatoa Loop, and I hiked from Chowchilon to Quilatoa the next day, and it was really hard. I did it with my entire pack, with all of my month's worth of belongings, and my pack weighs like 40 pounds, like I'm not even exaggerating. It's really heavy, and the trail was about, I want to say 13 kilometers, which is maybe like 6, 7 miles. I don't know, you do the math. But it was all uphill. It wasn't really like up and down. It was just like the entire way. And it took me 7 hours, which is pretty normal. That actually would have taken me 6 hours, but I accidentally took a wrong turn, and I was only maybe an hour away from the end of my trip, and I was totally exhausted. And instead of going up and finishing the rest of the trail and arriving in the village of Quilatoa, I accidentally went down, and I thought, oh, this is so much easier. I'm going downhill. The village must be downhill. Well, I finally realized that I probably wasn't going the right way, and I couldn't see the village anywhere, and I started to like panic because I was totally exhausted. Like honestly I was exhausted 30 minutes into the hike, but as you can imagine, I was really freaking exhausted 6 hours into the hike, carrying my pack. I was at high altitude. I was like wiped out, and then it started to pour rain, and I'm like, fuck, I don't think I'm going the right way. There was some Ecuadorian guy down there, like herding his sheep, and he saw me, and I asked him like, where is Quilatoa, and he said, oh, it's up there. So I had like come down, and I was supposed to be up on the crest still, so I basically made more work for myself, and I was totally exhausted, and I had to climb back up. It added another hour onto the hike with my enormous backpack, so it took me 7 hours. Anyways, then the next day I did the Quilatoa Rim Trail with my little backpack with some snacks and water, and that's it. And that took me a little over 4 hours, and that was also pretty steep up and down, but man, it seemed like a piece of cake after the day before. And then after that, I went to Latacunga and stayed in Latacunga for 2 days, and I didn't do much there. Kind of just walked around and explored and took it easy. And honestly, I've been really eager to like get to my business stuff that's like waiting. I feel like I'm a little overwhelmed with how much stuff I have to do when I get home, so I kind of couldn't wait, and I just dove into it and spent a lot of time on my my tablet while in Latacunga. And then now I'm back in Quito. I've been in Quito since yesterday, and I'm leaving tomorrow morning to arrive back in San Diego in late evening. So yeah, anyways, in regards to my integration, I just kind of wanted to summarize what this trip has meant for me and talk a little bit about like my reflections on it. I've had an amazing journey here, and it's been really challenging but really fulfilling. And some of the main points that I've really gotten out of this are as follows. Most importantly, I really learned to appreciate how capable I really am at achieving something that I put my mind to. And this applies to me in my business, in my physical, challenges, like hiking with a 40-pound pack, and my mental challenges like drinking plant medicine every single day for like 2.5, 3 weeks. And really, I've just come to terms with the fact that I haven't been giving myself enough credit for how strong and able I actually am in achieving my goals. So that's been a really powerful thing to take home, and I'm feeling very inspired to move forward with my business ventures, and I'm feeling more confident than ever that I'm able to execute them successfully. It also has brought some attention around how sort of spread thin I am. I'm distributed in a lot of different areas of my life and in a lot of different relationships in my life. And I think in order to succeed and really focus and do something well, I need to consolidate a little bit. And this goes for some of my business partnerships or ventures. I need to centralize them a little bit more and make them more cohesive. Instead of having all these different projects going on, I just need to focus on 2 or 3 really important big ones that I can commit to and have them be related to each other, so that it's not such a taxing, thing to keep track of all these different pieces of my business. And that goes for my relationships as well, with my friends, and which relationships I choose to nurture. And in relation to that, one thing that's been really interesting on this journey is I've found myself to be quite comfortable being by myself, which I usually am. I've always been really independent and happy being alone, kind of introverted at times, but more so lately. And I think one of the reasons for that is in being on my health journey, my brain health and my nervous system and how I feel in general is drastically improved. And I think throughout my life I was almost medicating by having social interaction. I think I was receiving a lot of oxytocin and feel-good chemicals from excessive social interaction and feelings of being involved socially, in a way to medicate for my inflamed, dysregulated nervous system. And now that I'm way more in balance, I found myself less craving social interaction constantly. Don't get me wrong, it's still very important to me, but I've always found that I was all wanting people, wanting company, wanting interaction all the time, and it was almost like helping me cope with my screwed up brain chemistry by releasing all this oxytocin and stuff that you get from creating social relationships. So lately, because of my increased health and vitality, I found myself to be more introverted and less needing to seek out the company of others, which is convenient because honestly I'm going to have to buckle down and be a little antisocial to get all my new business stuff done anyways. But it's been really interesting to observe, and overall I'm just feeling really pleased with how secure I feel within myself and being with myself, and I feel really at ease with who I am and my own company, which is great. Another another thing I've really been noticing is in regards to my dietary and health struggles. I'm not sure how many of you follow me or know, but basically I have been recovering for the last 2 years, essentially, when I started to figure it out, from an autoimmune condition. And it's just been in the last 3 months since I've been under the care of my amazing naturopath doctor and friend that I've really been exponentially recovering and healing and reaching new peaks of health that I never even thought I could feel. Like, it's like drugs. Like, health is like drugs. It makes you feel high. And so one of the things that I've done in the last few months is completely cut out grains and carbohydrates and pretty much be experimenting with a paleo or primitive diet that puts me in a ketogenic metabolism, where I'm basically mostly processing ketones from fat and not so much glucose. And I've been experimenting with interstitial fasting and food restriction and things of that sort, and it's really been helping. And so what that means is I haven't been eating grains, and that includes rice. I in my normal life in the U.S. Lately, I've been eating, maybe a cup of cooked rice, brown rice, like twice a week, like very little, and pretty much no other grains, not very much fruit either, no sugar, starchy things, no potatoes, like not a lot of yams or anything. And it's been really effective in starving out the strains of microorganisms that were overgrowth in my gut that are basically causing my leaky gut and autoimmunity and inflamed nervous system, causing depression and anxiety and such. And I haven't been able to control my diet very well in Ecuador. Surprisingly, it's actually been really easy to avoid wheat and dairy. I'm kind of embarrassed to say it's been easier here than it has in the U.S. Like, despite the language barrier, it's easier for me to get gluten-free, dairy-free food here in Ecuador than it is at a freaking restaurant in the United States. But I have not been able to avoid excessive carbohydrates and grains here, because they live off of like white rice. And especially being on dieta and being at the retreat center, I wasn't able to eat as much meat as my body needed, and I wasn't able to eat as much fat as my body needed. Normally, my diet consists of meat, vegetables, and nuts. Nuts, tons of nuts. My diet is probably 40% nuts. Nuts in Ecuador are expensive, they're hard to find, they're rare, and so I'm having trouble eating enough fat here. Now that I'm out of the plant medicine part, I've been able to control my food a little bit better. But basically, I've been consuming a shit ton of rice and beans and plantains, which are just like carbs, carbs, carbs. And actually, I've been really surprised how well my body's been managing it. Like, I think that speaks a lot to my progress in killing off all the microorganisms that are thriving on starches and sugars. Because normally, if I was eating even a bowl of rice, as much as I have been twice a day here, I would have been like, crazy. So I think my microbiome has really calmed down a lot. And I also think the ayahuasca has really been helping. I think having sort of chronic exposure to neurotransmitter activity that's elevated has really been modulating my immune response and inflammatory response in my body. So even though maybe if I had just been eating the rice on its own and not drinking ayahuasca, I probably would have gotten a little bit like inflamed and edgy and stuff. But because I was drinking so much medicine, I think it was really modulating and controlling it. And so for about a week or so after I stopped taking the medicine, I was continuing to eat a lot of carbs and rice, and I was still feeling pretty good. But just towards the tail end of my trip, my symptoms have been starting to come back. And some of that might have been just from accidental dairy dosing from like butter or something cooked in butter or whatever. But I'm still doing better than ever. But I think when I get home, I'm gonna take some more antimicrobial herbs to kill off anything that might have sort of regrown, because I haven't been able to really cater to the bacteria that I want to be there by giving them the right food. So I think I'll just kind of like clear the slate a little bit, because I probably have been promoting starch-loving bacteria by eating so much rice. But overall, I'm really happy with how my health has been pretty manageable on this trip, despite putting my poor body through the ringer. Oh my God, like, man, the body is resilient, and I'm very happy to see how resilient mine has been in this whole process, because, I mean, I was like basically high for 3 weeks straight, and I was starving, and I was eating a bunch of grains, and I was not sleeping at all, and I really wasn't able to exercise, you know, during the medicine part of the treat. And then at the end, and then afterwards, I'm like feeding myself too much because my body is like deficient at this point. So I've been like stuffing my face for the last week and a half, pretty much eating excessively and just becoming like obsessed about eating, because my brain has it in this idea that I'm like, that, you know, nutrients and resources are hard to get, so like every time I see a restaurant, I'm like, I just gotta eat. So my blood sugar has just been totally elevated for the last 11 days, so I'm trying to like do a little bit of fasting to like get it to calm down and be healthy again. So yeah, and you know, then the whole backpacking thing, just complete strenuous exercise, carrying so much weight. My body has been beat the fuck up, this whole thing. Thank you, body. So, yeah, I guess that's really what I've gathered from the last 10 days of having time to reflect is noticing changes in my biochemistry and my health and my relationship with food. And I really do think the ayahuasca has helped heal this relationship with food, because in a way it was like, I was like, look, body, I know this isn't the fuel that you want, but it's all that we get. Like, you're just gonna have to be adaptable and eat the freaking rice. And it was like I was having this conversation that was facilitated by the medicine to just tell my body to come to terms with the fact that it can't be picky, because like sometimes survival means you have to eat shit that's not ideal. So that's been really interesting. And, you know, consolidating my life too. I'm really excited to move forward with my business stuff, and this might actually be a good time, not that there's a bad time, good time to announce some of the exciting stuff I have waiting for me when I get home. So I'm about to release 2 new products, and one of them is a mood enhancement formula that's basically geared towards balancing brain chemistry and promoting optimal brain health so that your nervous system and brain can be healthy and you can feel happy and awesome and have a great uplifted mood. It's called Transcend. It's been manufactured. It's sitting in San Diego waiting for me to get home. And the other formula that I'm releasing is called Theta Zen, and it's basically a meditation aid supplement, and it's really being marketed and designed to enhance the benefits of sensory deprivation float tanks. So I'm going to be releasing that one into the float industry and hopefully have it be sold in float centers all over the United States soon. So yeah, I'm really stoked about that. Pretty soon I'm going to have some liquid version of the Weekend Warrior Party Recovery, hopefully within the next 2 months or so. And overall I have a lot of really exciting stuff, and some of it I don't want to share yet until I know for sure that it's going to happen. But yeah, life is really coming together beautifully, and I really do think I have a lot to thank ayahuasca for in giving me the courage to feel strong enough to move forward through these opportunities, and kind of helping align the stars, because I really think that the universe is helping me on this journey. I think I have little guides, little angels that are just laying out the right carpet in front of me. So I really appreciate all of you watching me go on this journey, and if you've made it this far, congratulations. You are either dedicated to listening to my journey through all this, or you just have way too much free time on the internet. You need to look at more cat memes, I think. Well, thank you so very much for all of your love and support, and I'll keep you guys updated on the really cool, exciting stuff that I have going on. Alright? Blessings.